This is Berk. This is my modern version of the traditional style Scandinavian puukko. This project has made me more excited about a design than pretty much anything I've designed for the last 10-15 years. Let's dive into it. My roots in knife making started by making fixed blades, and I think that is pretty common for a lot of knife makers. In this case, my early knife making days was inspired by what I was doing. I went hunting with my dad, I went backpacking in the woods, I did stuff outside all the time, and a fixed blade was just a solid companion for me back then, as is it today. The Berk is a very modern version of the puukko. It's built around a full tang construction with some details that we can dive into right away. In the front area here of the handle is what I called a wrap tang. It's still a full tang construction, but I covered the top and the bottom part with the handle material that wraps around. In these areas, I added fairly deep serrations here. It's not aggressive to the touch, but it adds to the grip. It gives you a really solid grip. As a bonus, it also protects your hand from extreme cold weather if you're using it in the winter time. And it just gives you a precise grip with a lot of variation in how you can hold it. I have an area here that I call a thumb groove. It allows you to position your thumb around the blade for more detailed work. It has some milled in jimping on the round or crown spine that gives you some positioning for your thumb. For this project here, I chose the steel called Vanax. This is a rather new steel to me, so in order to have confidence in my product, we did a lot of testing with this, and I can't say anything other than I'm super impressed. For me, the steel used for an outdoor knife, it needs to hold an edge really well. It needs to be able to be sharpened fairly easy with ordinary sharpening tools that you can bring with you in your backpack. It needs to be stain resistant. And especially stain resistant is where Vanax really shines. We did some testing leaving a blade in salt water for 5 or 6 days, mainly because I forgot about it. And there wasn't a single speck of rust. I'm just super impressed by that. We did some torture testing of the blade, just batoning it at one time with a real hammer, which I kind of don't recommend, but it just took up basically any beating that we threw at it. The edge was incredibly sharp afterwards, so I'm really confident that this steel will prove to be an excellent choice for this project here. It comes standard with a micarta handle here and a modified hollow grind, and by modified I mean that it's kind of a mix between flat ground and hollow grind. So it's a very slight hollow on the blade, and I did this modification both to add strength to the blade but keep some of those really good cutting capabilities that is in a hollow ground blade. I designed this for basically any chores that you can meet around backpacking, walking in the woods, hunting, fishing, food preparation around camp, all that kind of stuff. And for that, my preference is a knife that has a certain size without being too big. So the blade is right around 90 millimeters, which is 3 3/4 inch, which for me is a sweet spot for a knife of this character here. The overall length is 21 centimeters, which is right around 8 1/4 inch total. So it's a fairly compact yet capable knife. Let's discuss the construction just a little bit here. Here I've removed the titanium screws that holds the handle in place. And this allows you to get a look at the inside here. So the scales are screwed in place with titanium screws, and on the inside you'll find that we've relieved the tang for some weight, for a better balance. And here you can see how the handle wraps around the tang. So you really have a full tang construction, but just the outer edge has been removed so the handle can wrap around. Here you can also see the lanyard hole here. For me, it's absolutely critical to have a lanyard on basically any knife, but especially a fixed blade, so that you can tie it down if you need to, if you use it in areas where you're prone to losing it, which is catastrophic with any knife, of course, but especially in the outdoors, it can turn into a catastrophic failure. That was the internal construction here. The handle has this palm swell in the middle, as well as top to bottom here, which gives it a very secure grip while still allowing you multiple different ways of holding it. Let's move on to the sheath options. So standard for the Berk is we are offering two different sheath types here. One is a leather sheath. That's my personal favorite. I know a lot of you guys also like kydex, so we had these two sheaths made for us by our great friends in Lithuania, TRC Knives. And the quality of these are just stellar. This is some of the best work that I've seen in a long, long time. The kydex sheath has a very, very distinct click that assures you that now the knife is secure. It has a thumb ramp. You can push to remove from the sheath. It has a loop here for scout carry with a pull the dot system, so it's easy to put onto your belt or backpack. Obviously the whole pattern here will allow you to add basically any standard belt loop or whatever is available for kydex sheath, but I really like this scout carry style loop here. It has a drainage hole in the bottom just so moisture can get out. This is just really cool work. Now onto the leather sheath here. This is thick leather, and we put it on a dangler, so anybody who has been carrying fixed blades for a long time knows that getting in and out of vehicles or just moving around in thick brush and stuff like that, having a knife being permanently fixed on your belt is good and bad. But for me, the dangler really allows for a flexible carry. The knife fits fairly deep, so we added a lanyard loop here on the knife. Makes it easy to withdraw, but keeping it really safe. For me, the leather sheath is just such a classical style of carrying a fixed blade, so this is definitely for me. This also has a drainage hole in the bottom of the sheath, so you can, if it gets wet, if it's raining, moisture and water will just be able to flow out of the sheath. Let's talk a little bit about the handle. So as standard options for the Berk, we chose to have black micarta, black canvas micarta, and natural canvas micarta. These are two of my absolute favorite handle materials, especially for fixed blades, but handle materials in general. We'll also be offering separate scales so that if you want something different, we'll definitely be able to help you with that. But as a base option, natural canvas micarta and black micarta is our choice. Let's talk a little bit about the name of this. So it's called Berk, which is Danish for birch tree. It also happens to be the name of my firstborn grandchild. We were so lucky to have our first grandchild 9 months ago, and I thought it was very fitting that we actually named the first fixed blade in a number of years after our grandson. Let's dive into some closer views of the knife. Let's take a closer look on some of the defining features of what seems to be a very simple knife, but it packs a load of cool features. Here is the wrapped tang with the milled in serrations that gives you a really strong and secure grip. One of the downfalls of the traditional puukko is the lack of any guards. I've added a little guard here, a guard area, and that combined with the serrations or jimping or whatever you would call it in the handle just makes a very comfortable but very secure grip where your fingers can just really dig in, so this doesn't go anywhere while you're using it. Here you have the crown spine all around here, and gives you a very comfortable grip. Here you have the serrations on the back of the spine that gives you not only a very secure grip for your thumb, but it also gives you this tactile feel, so you know if you're using the knife in the dark, you know exactly where you are on the knife. You can choke up on it using the thumb ramp here, or you can actually hold it all the way up here, protect the tip if you're cutting something delicate. Here you can see the integrated lanyard feature here. It shows a little easier here where we have it exposed, so it's milled into the handle as well as the frame. Here we get a closer look at the tang area. Here you have milled out areas to remove some weight, and looking closer at the handle here, you can see these areas here that wraps around the tang. If you take a look at the handle, you have this palm swell in the middle of the handle, both from top to bottom and side to side, and this gives you a very comfortable handle. Taking a closer look at the leather sheath, this is a dangler style sheath. Allows you to carry it on your belt, but still manage to get around in and out of vehicles, around the camp or hunting without it snagging on anything. The knife sits quite deep into the sheath here, and it has a little notch inside the sheath that helps maintain the knife in position. For the kydex sheath, as mentioned, you have a thumb ramp here that allows you to quite easily remove the knife securely from the sheath. Let's have a look on the knife on the belt. This concludes today's video. All I have left to say is that the Berk is now available for pre-orders, and you can order it on the website if you click the link below. And get out there and explore nature.